Night of the Word is a 1998 novel by Terry Brooks, and it is book 2 in the Word and Void trilogy, and so second chronologically in the larger Shannara universe. I have previously reviewed the first book in this trilogy, which, you can find on this channel, of course. That is Running with the Demon. So demons, once men, are feeders. Fire consumes the inhabitants of Seattle in the post-apocalyptic potential future. John Ross is no longer a Knight of the Word in this future, but he still has his rune-carved black staff. An old man accuses him of having killed the Wizard of Oz in the Emerald City. So this time it seems John Ross's goal is to stop himself from doing something that will destroy the world rather than Nest, as it was in the first book. Back in reality, John Ross thinks of himself as an empty shell, crippled of mind and body and soul, coming home to die. Tonight is Halloween. He thinks of his choices, of being betrayed, of Simon Lawrence, Andrew Rynn, O. Olish Amana, the lady, Owen Glendower, Ness Freemark, Stephanie. He has an enemy to face, and he wonders if he is still a Knight of the Word at all. And then we go back in time to October 28th. It's been 5 years. It's now 2002. We catch up with Ness. We learn that old Bob passed away in May that year. She has been at Northwestern University for a year. She's 19 years old. Pick, the diminutive Sylvan, is still her best friend, though she's not at home as much anymore. And that is one of the key themes of this book, as well as being home, in a sense, being true to yourself and your roots almost. So her running has continued. She's on track in field scholarship and holds a world record, and expects to run in the Summer Olympics in Melbourne in 2 years. People expect her to win gold, but right now she's home in Hopewell, Illinois, though she should be back at school. The house needs cataloged since old Bob has passed, but then Robert stops by. He has some nerve considering the last time they saw each other. He was hitting on her in a very forward and inappropriate manner at old Bob's funeral, but he's her oldest friend. Jared, Brianna, and Cass are no longer in the picture for various reasons, and she feels adrift, life having many changes. It feels really nostalgic, honestly. It really nails it. This book and the first book in this series really just home runs for me as far as, yes, urban fantasy, but just, again, I think it's in part is because I'm also from rural Illinois, but just that sense of aging and nostalgia. Not something you need all the time, but it does work really well here. So we also have the great character work, the despair of John Ross in particular, also the modern problems of police violence and school shootings. So we have new fairy tale creature as well in the Tattered Alien. And Brooks, I think, does a good job showing that he understands people. Specifically, we get the in-depth examples of John Ross and Ness, but broadly the book talks a lot about domestic violence, poverty, homelessness. Most talk about how people don't care if it's not me or it's not you that are suffering from one of these. They just don't want to see it, essentially. And you got something similar to that with the working class focus in the first book, if you remember. So I really like how also the magic is transient. It changes. We're never really sure exactly what it will be, and it always requires something, seemingly, right? Just as Grant's life in book 1 for what she did, or John Ross being crippled by his magic. The lack of a great mystery doesn't really diminish much from the enjoyment of the story, though. Even, I think, here it gives a sense of dramatic irony, though that's something you have to be careful not to overdo. Overall, the mystery doesn't work, actually. If you've read the first book, it's pretty much really similar. Not exactly the same, but it's really similar. So if you read the first book, you're going to guess this really quite easily. And so it's not as good as with mystery. But it still doesn't hurt the book as much, though in some sense, because of that, it is a little less enjoyable than the first book. Though, also, I should mention that if it wasn't obvious, this one takes place more so in the city of Seattle, actually, than anywhere else. This one actually has some quotes I want to share. I do this sometimes at the end of my reviews, just share some quotes from the book. So, you can be empty inside yourself because you have no spiritual center. You can wander through life without any real sense of who you are or where you belong. You can exist without purpose or cause. Then we have, what we have in life that we can count on or own is who we are and where we come from, she thought absently. For better or worse, that's what we have to sustain us in our endeavors, to buttress us in our darker moments, and to remind us of our identity. Without those things, we are adrift. And then the last quote, all men and women experience successes and failures, and their tally at death was not necessarily determinative of one's worth in life. This was true as well for a Knight of the Word. It was trying that mattered more. It was the giving of effort and heart that lent value. It was the making of sacrifices. Beam from Liam's bless you.